Hello, and welcome to another weekly reading. I don't know if you've ever tried this combination of wild orange and spearmint, but it is for me so fresh and dynamic and interesting, and so it feels like the perfect oil combination to usher in Aquarius season, because that's what we begin this week, Aquarius season. We're also experiencing our last quarter moon, which means next week we'll have the new moon in Aquarius, and we will begin the lunar Aquarian cycle. So there's a mixture of crystals on my desk and a mixture of cards for that matter. I do have quite a few cards. However, the cards we're using are the ones we know that I usually use. And we are going to do a general reading as always. So just a reminder that this isn't a personal reading, but if you pick a card between 1 and 4, you will get an energy of the card number that you picked that is your most particularly personalized version of this reading. And we will see what that is as we jump into the week. So let's jump in. Have you picked a number between 1 and 4? Let's go. Okay, big picture of the reading. And I find this quite interesting that we have a queen, a king, a page, and one major arcana. Everything but the King of Pentacles is also upside down. So let's dive in. The Queen of Cups in protection. She is an extremely intuitive lady. You can see her eyes are closed. She knows without the overly dominant sense of sight, generally speaking. But because she is a water card, she is obviously very emotionally attuned and therefore very sensitive to emotions and very empathic. So upside down, it can be overwhelmed by emotions, overly emotional, overly sensitive, unable to kind of hear and see what's going on outside in the real world because maybe the dial is turned up to your intuition so high that you can't even really be discerning. It is kind of a tidal wave when it is in the upside down, tidal wave of information, intuition, emotion. Taking things personally may be a big thing. So if you chose this card this week, then that's a caution for you to watch that you're not taking things personally and being overly sensitive. I hate when people say to people like me who are sensitive that you're oversensitive or you're overreacting. But this would be a week, especially if you chose this card, to just, if somebody's to say that such a thing to you, for you to pause, breathe, and ask yourself if that's true. It may not be true, but if it is true, feel into that truth for yourself, and then you get to discern, which might be a little harder this week if this was the card you chose, but you get to discern what you do with that. Right next to our queen we have a king. He is upright, he is pentacles, which in many ways for me is going to represent the culmination of this Capricorn season, because this is a very good kind of Capricornian card. However, remembering that this is going to be the first Aquarius season since Pluto's absolute move into Aquarius. And so a lot of what we've been experiencing with Pluto in Capricorn is the breakdown of the shadow of Capricorn. And so I also feel like this is an opportunity for us to go, okay, so what parts of Capricorn, now that Pluto's moved on, have we decided is very valid for us to keep? Like there was a breakdown of the top-down power and the world order, and there is continuing to be like the ramifications of that, but what traditions do we feel like we really want to keep? And maybe looking at that, and where have I been very organized and ordered and able to manage my material needs and to support other people, and where are my finances looking good? So having a look at all things kingly and material, because this is the element of earth, pentacles. Okay, then we move on to the Hierophant card, which is always a special one for me, because if you reduce the number of your birth date, you get to a single-digit number. That's your personal card, and this is the one that it works out with for me. So just reduce the number of your birth date all the way down to one number, or a number that falls within the major arcana, so to 21, and you will see your personal card. If you have something that is from 10 to 21, you can use that card, and then you can add those two numbers together to get another card, and you will have two most powerful major arcana storylines for you. Anyway, sorry, that's just a little aside for those of you who are developing a little deeper into your tarot. It brings in the numerology. So here we have the Hierophant card, number 5 in the hero/heroine's journey. And it is a very spiritual card. It used to be in the early days, it was the card that was represented by the Pope. It was a Pope, not a, in this case, kind of like a guru. So it has this connection to spiritual truths and enlightenment and growth. Of course, we've gotten it upside down. So we might be asking ourselves, especially coming off this card, I would say, where are we working so hard and doing so well in terms of the real world, the material world, our work and business, our home and organization, at maybe the expense of our spiritual health and spiritual exploration? Sorry, there's a light above this table and I'm just trying not to get the reflection for you. You might also ask yourself here again, thinking about what I was mentioning with Pluto in Capricorn and the breakdown of top-down power, we might be looking at also what are the outdated systems of belief, especially around spirituality, religion. What is no longer working in the way that society is shifting, or what is under pressure now that society is shifting? And then taking that into your own personal belief systems. How do I maintain my belief systems if that's what I'd like to do? Or how do I shift those belief systems? So this is quite a deep personal exploration. And what works for you may not be what works for the next person. So this is a place where you do the inner feeling into those things before you talk about it oftentimes in the outer world, unless you have a tight inner circle. But when we start talking spirituality and religion, those kinds of subjects can really blow up. So because there might be power shifts here, or the ego-based beliefs that are going to become problematic if you expose that, I would say this would be definitely, because of Aquarius season coming in, we're thinking about how do I do it differently. Aquarius is very futuristic. It's very open to something way outside of anything we may have thought of before. So we come out of Capricorn, which is very much about traditions and the way we've always done things, into Aquarius is very much about what does the future look like, and can I think way outside the boundaries and the box of what's been before. And so these are the questions you might want to ask yourself around beliefs and where is it? Because Aquarius is very rebellious. And this card upside down is maybe like, where am I rebelling against the systems, particularly, I would say, of religion and spirituality, but maybe even the other big topics that nobody wants to discuss. Like, well, that lots of people want to discuss, but are always hot topics, like politics and sexuality and all of those challenging ones. Where am I feeling rebellion rising inside of me or around me with people that I'm close to? Sorry about this reflection. Okay, and then we have the Page of Pentacles, and upright, this page is standing on one leg and supporting this rather heavy pentacle and trying to find this balance. And of course, it's a second Earth card because we have that King of Pentacles in Earth. And so this is the younger energy. Pages tend to herald things. Now this page might be a little bit listless and, what's the point? And I guess, again, that's the combination of the energies of coming out of Capricorn into Aquarius. I want to see into the future, but it's such hard work. And, this is rather the devil I know. Or what does it really mean to change my belief systems? What does it really mean to listen to my intuition when my intuition is telling me to leave maybe a very deep relationship that I don't want to get out of, or to break away from my religion, or to break away from a friend who's gone into a different religion that I don't believe in, or any of those really uncomfortable things, which may account for our queen being upside down, because these are big topics and our intuition may well be telling us something we don't want to hear. So the page would rather not come and tell everybody, that herald of these are the things to build the new future, because of course Pentacles again is going to be building, it's going to be practical, it's going to be how do we create that in a way that we can really see, smell, taste, touch it, a tangible experience. I always find it fascinating in this card, in this rendition of this card, that when you bring it upside down, it very much depicts the similar image to the Hanged Man in the major arcana, and that is a Neptunian card that really links to surrendering and also to tapping into the ideals, surreals. And Neptune is very, very active this year. We are going to be watching Neptune do his last degrees of his own sign of Pisces, so he will be even more intense in all things Piscean and Neptunian. And then he's going to be stepping into Aries, the first degree of Aries. 0 Aries is the first degree of the entire zodiac, where we suddenly have to recognize, what do we fight for? And Neptune has a lot to do with ideals and how we can believe in something greater and imagine a better world. And then, of course, we have to try and create it. So Neptune's shift from Pisces, where we're still incubating in the amniotic waters, we're still dreaming, and then stepping into this fierce warrior energy where now I've got to make that real. And what does that mean? Like, what would I kill for? What would I die for? Kind of energy, which is going to be a big one for all of us this year. And it's much more than just Neptune. That 0 Aries point is in 29 Pisces, 0 Aries is going to be very, very active. So for me, this discomfort of the practical young page that says, okay, this is how I build it. The upside downness of this to me in part is also, actually, I can't really know yet. I can't really know how to put my best foot forward and how to balance in this newly forming world. So I need to kind of step into the surrender of the Hanged Man, even though, of course, this is not the Hanged Man card. So for me, that one, this reflection, that one almost feels like it is pausing before taking next right action, taking the next right step, and being in the incubation while we're in the incubation. I hope that has been helpful. And as I say, I would definitely take into account which card you got and play mostly into that storyline for you to make it more personal. But then, of course, thinking about the overarching messages, and always take the ones that resonate. And of course, applying it to the circumstances or the thoughts, the feelings, the intuitions that have been coming up in your life. And then you build your own story around what feels right for you. We are all becoming more and more upgraded to our own intuition. And it's so important that we get more and more accountable and responsible. That's a nice note from the King of Pentacles there, for our own choices, for our own actions. And so it's this balancing act between being very present and grounded and physical and wise and creating something sustainable, and learning to trust our intuition and that unseen kind of liminal space that is very overwhelming at times, and rebelling, questioning the status quo if it doesn't feel right for you anymore. And also learning to accept if that is not you that's being rebellious or questioning the status quo, that it might be people close to you. And that might mean that your or their non-negotiables change and the relationship, the season of relationship ends. And it is my sense that these may very well be relationships you never thought would have ended. And yet that's where we are. So take it slow, pause before making any major reactive processes. Try to be in that incubation period. When the 0 Aries point gets more activated, we may become more reactive. Right now, try to get a deeper sense of you, where you stand, what you feel, where your beliefs are changing and where they're staying the same, what you value and what you no longer value. So that when it comes to making decisions, making breaks, ending seasons, changing cycles, breaking patterns, you at least are clear about who you are, what is important to you, and what are your non-negotiables. Okay, that took a turn I wasn't anticipating, but it feels correct. So I'm sending much love and light to everyone out there, and thank you for your time, for watching, for sharing, for commenting, for liking, and all of that to help me continue to feel inspired to do these weekly readings.